And welcome back. So we're here back with the Isokaze. We're going to take a quick look at the tech tree though first before we really get into it. So basically this has become probably one of my favorite destroyers, if not truly my favorite destroyer as of the moment besides the Minakaze. The big things about it with the grind, getting up to it, is the fact that the tier 2 is arguably probably really overpowered with the 8km torp range. It only can fire 4 of them, but I will say I've really always believed the Isokaze to be the best tier 2 destroyer. Much better than I believe the Clemson is, or whatever the other one is for the American one isn't really that good. Now moving on to the Watatake, you get 7km torps, a kilometer less, you do a bit more damage. The torpedoes are faster at 57 kilometers. The concealment is quite good at 6.1, basically the same platform as the Isokaze. Yet again, the guns, like on all of these, are, well, just crap. They're just useless. Don't really even bother with the guns. But I will say the maneuverability is pretty decent on the Watatake. And then we're up to the Isokaze. Now this thing's torps and everything else is a little bit better. You get a little bit better health. The guns are slightly bit better. Torp range 7 kilometers. Your main batteries, yet again, you still got 120mm guns. You got 4 of them this time instead of 3, so it does help a bit, I will say. One thing I really do like, though, are the torpedoes. You get 6 torpedoes, 3 different separate launchers. That's actually a big deal because you can launch enough torpedoes and set a trap for enemy battleships and cruisers and even destroyers where they'll hit. The maneuverability is actually quite good. Rudder shift time is excellent, turning circle is quite good. Surface detectability is 6.1, which means that essentially you can launch torps without ever being spotted. You have almost a kilometer of leeway. I really enjoy this thing a lot. Now, comparing to the American of its tier, the Clemson's interesting because it has 4 torpedo launchers, 3, so it can launch 12, but the difference is that it can only launch 6 per side and only has 5km torpedo range. And yet again, the maximum speed's about the same. The surface detectability range is almost another kilometer, and his guns are actually the same caliber, really. So, ironically enough, at this tier, the Japanese destroyer I find to be far more effective. So, I really enjoy it anyway. So, alright, so without further ado, I would say that this is a fantastic destroyer. I highly recommend you playing it, and let's go see some gameplay. So here we're on Fault Line. This is a Tier 6 game. We have a Cleveland, and that's kind of really the only Tier 6. Cleveland and a Mitsuki on our team, whereas they have a Fuso at Tier 6. So this is relatively the usual kind of matchmaking you're going to see in something like this. Which kind of cool. There's that new Show My Ship feature, which you can compare your ship with other ships. It's kind of cool. If you don't know the ships pretty well, it's pretty convenient.
Action stations!
Alright, so the first thing about destroyers, particularly destroyers like this one, they're all about the torpedoes, all about being safe. With this thing doing 14,000 damage average, or well, actually it's maximum, but you're probably going to do around 10,000 damage per torpedo on a ship. It's really quite good. So, as you can see, HE does 1,800 damage, AP does 2,000 damage. That's average. Does it really? Not always. The guns really don't matter. So essentially what you always want to do with something like this is you can act as a scout very well, because typically you will scout out everybody before they see you. But you don't necessarily want to be extremely aggressive. But I am kind of being the exact person of do as I say, not as I do, because in this one I end up playing quite aggressively, and it really does end up paying off in the long run. So, a lot of times when there's the deployment and things like that, I really like, as destroyers go, to head near the A line or the C line, basically A capture point or C capture point. I find that if you can hold either one of those, you can always go to B in the center. But if you can hold both of those, you'll already be up on capture points. Now, then there's also the risk you're taking of then leaving the center open. That's why typically I'd say in this game, always run in, I guess they call it a division. A division in World of Warships. I'd recommend to run in a division if you can, with at least 3 people in it. If you have to run only with one other person, you can make it work. I'm not saying you can't, but just run with as many allies as you can, especially now that it's an open beta and so many people are playing this game that have no idea what they're doing. I will say though, there's a nice bump up when you get to tier 4s and 5s. It seems like a lot of the noobs kind of haven't made it there yet, so you don't get allied torps hitting you and allied ships hitting you and all that. You get kind of some of the more experienced people, I guess, but either way. Got some battleships right. We got a destroyer. We got a Grem out there. We got a Fuso, Wyoming, and Romance. So I'm gonna head over to the right side. You know, it's down the 1, 2, 3 line, just because that seems like to be the place to head over to, considering I'm going to have support from this already destroyer over there and a couple of battleships. I will say, as a Japanese destroyer, the funny thing is, because of the way the setup, you can kind of be a lone scouting force, but I'd recommend, just for the sake of how this game is, don't really ever go alone. You know, try and stick around other ships, other people. You'll usually work out a lot better. If you really know what you're doing as a destroyer captain, you can go out alone, but the thing is with the Japanese destroyers, if you see an American destroyer, typically you are going to die. The only one that I can kind of work with is the Isokaze and the one after it, which I'm drawing a blank on. But those are fast enough and have enough concealment and have long enough torpedoes where typically they'll give any American destroyer a run for their money. But at these lower tiers, their guns traverse so much better, they just overall statistically are so much better with the guns that you get into a close range brawl, you're screwed. So I noticed that there is something spotted over at A. It looked like it was, I think, a cruiser or something like that, maybe even a battleship. Now, the thing about Japanese destroyers, ironically enough, it's really hard to... Oh yeah, I reported him as playing well because I saw him a game before, so he played really well that game. I forgot to compliment him. But anyways, the point being that these Japanese destroyers are very, very good at taking out, ironically enough, Japanese battleships. Japanese battleships are really slow, they're really clunky, they can't really turn very well. They're typically fast in American battleships, but they typically stay true to their course because they can't really turn around. They can't really shift their rudder time at all. It's usually like a 20-second rudder shift time for things like Congos and Fusos and things of that sort. So I see there's a Cleveland over there, which, you know, he's out of my... Oh, I'm spotted. I'm spotted. I figured there was someone hiding over here because they were capturing. I'm looking, I'm not seeing anything, Oh my god, it's a Congo right there. We're a 4-kilometer range. This is basically the zone where he can't. Engine boost. Now, if you guys saw, I did the torp spread in the center, in front, and behind. That's so no matter what, I know some torps are going to hit him. I fire off my couple shots just for the sake of it. And, yeah, he ain't getting out of this one.
We've destroyed an enemy battleship.
Yeah, that was a magazine detonation. One torpedo hit and killing him. That was a magazine detonation. Now, that was the lucky case scenario. I will say, even if those hadn't killed him, the torpedoes only have a 40-second reload time. So I would have already, almost now, in about another 3 seconds, been launching another spread of torpedoes. So either way, he was dead. I was just lucky. I only took a couple thousand damage. So I figured, you know what? Torpedoes are also a great area defense system. I'll launch a few, launch them widespread, and see what I get out of it. Oh boy, there's another Fuso. Let's get the hell out of here. Let's go over here, and we'll take him next. What is this? Oh my god, are you kidding me? Yeah, remember I said these are area denial systems? Even if you know you have a reload time, you might as well shoot them. Yeah, this is where I feel bad for those guys, because they get, they end up having a bad day. One torpedo hit. 2, 3. Yep, 3 more torpedo hits. 3 flooding, 1 critically damaged. So I have 4 torpedo hits, 4 floodings, and 1 kill. Now, I feel bad for this Fuso right now. I'm going to say, dude, I feel sorry for you. I'm sorry, man. There's nothing much you can do in this situation. Launch tight spread. A little bit before, a little bit right after him, a little bit behind, and yeah, he's done. I think he knows it. There's nothing he can do. He can't dodge this. He can't. There's nothing he can do. He's done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep.
Enemy battleship sunk.
So there we are at high caliber, 1 destroyed. This another 5 torpedoes, so 9 torpedo hits. So essentially, with these Japanese destroyers, something that you can do is you can always kind of go in, be sneaky, go in between islands, and just attack our targets of opportunity. And I will say, because these lower tier Jap... Oh, is that a... Oh my god, that's a Wyoming. His guns are looking this way. Okay, he hasn't detected us, though. Because I do have 6th sense, so... He hasn't seen us. We're fine. And he's within torp range. So I think I'm just going to come out around this island and we'll get him. But no, with these destroyers, you can really be sneaky, going in between islands and things like that. And just take your targets one at a time. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to engage a group of ships. If you see a ship alone, that's how you engage them, you handle them. The Fuso is in the back here, doing what Fuso should do, long-range attack. But that left him particularly vulnerable to a destroyer like myself. So I know I'm going to spot the Wyoming. Bang, he's at 5 kilometers out. A little bit more, a little bit behind, a little bit more behind with a widespread. Actually, yep, right there. I was waiting a second because so if he starts to turn to avoid the initial 2 sets, he will obviously run into the 3rd set. So no matter what, he's eating some torps. There's no doubt about it. Even though they're maneuverable, there's nothing he can do about it. And that would be...
Enemy battleship foundered.
3 torps, 30,000 damage, you're done. See it again, that's, yeah, let's go, that basically nothing else happens from the battle, so let's go to the results screen. So yeah, 5,000 experience. So that was 146,000 damage with torpedoes, plus 1,700 with flooding, plus 5,000 with HE. So over 150,000 damage in a tier 4 destroyer. I would say that destroyers right now are probably the most powerful ships in the game if you know what you're doing. 2,200 base XP, and the nearest person had 1,100, so I would say that I absolutely love the Isokaze. I love the Japanese destroyers. They're very good. I'd recommend you guys getting into them. You just gotta play them smart. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We shall catch you next time.